How do you build a team? How do you build yourself? How do you build yourself? I think history has proven, long history, short history, that we must guard our hearts. Guard our hearts against many things. In particular, I think as the senior leader, if we can be really honest and blunt in this room, against pride. And I think also the gain that inherently is in all of us, our egos, to gain power and control. I told you we're going to talk about some blunt things, and again, I think these are really important things for this room. How do we wrestle those ideas, pride, power and control? Well, I've got a couple of thoughts for you about the differences in you. We're talking about you at the moment as a leader, the senior leader, is I think what I've observed over the time is leaders that aren't willing to change and grow build lids on their lives. And so to me, I've always said to our staff, our team, no matter where you're at, no matter how frustrated you are, no matter how frustrated I am with you, if you are constantly willing to change and grow, you have a job for life. The moment that you stop changing, the moment you stop growing, you are telling me you're done. And that's okay. But maybe then we need to be honest about that and say, well, you're done at this level, and then let's not put more pressure on you or try to elevate you any further, because you're saying that's as far as I can. Want everyone to come on the whole journey with us for the long run, and to do incredible things. And when I'm looking at people, I just often think about and see the potential inside them, and I want them to be their best version of what God has for them. So how do we not become leaders with lids? How do we not become a leader with a lid? Well, typically leaders with lids hoard stuff. They usually hoard information. They say, well, I've got all the tricks in my bag about how to lead something, and they're not willing to actually give away the tools that they know. I mean, I think as a senior leader, it's imperative upon us to actually pour out all of the things that we know about leadership, so that we're giving it then to the other people around us. So again, if you don't want to become a leader with a lid, then constantly share your resources. This happened to me in a business sense, where once I felt like one of the strengths that I bring is I come up with lots of ideas. I think typically good ideas, but until you have to execute, you don't really know if it's a good idea. But in my mind, they're all good ideas. And oftentimes I've got good ideas for many other people. I go, this would be a great business idea for you. You know, you should do this and do this. And then one day I come up with this ripper of an idea for business. And I thought, this is a winner. And I felt compelled to actually hold it rather than give it away. And I remember the Holy Spirit saying, why aren't you giving that business idea away to somebody else? And I go, well, it's a really good one. This is going to make a lot of money, and it's going to, be a game changer in many levels. He says, well, that means you don't believe I can give you a second idea. And so you are going to, what I learned was I was going to put a lid on myself around this idea. So never be afraid of actually sharing ideas, helping other people be great in what they can do. Look at their situation, say, you could actually rocket ship what you're doing if you just did these 3 things. And again, share resources, share information. Number 2, leaders with lids like to work alone. Leaders with lids like to work alone. Which means then the opposite to that, obviously, as senior leaders, we constantly need to be building bridges to build teams. Building bridges to build teams. The tendency for senior leaders is to build a cohort of people around you that you love, that you like. That's a good thing, by the way. But of course, people who bring other ideas outside of your mindset, your thinking, don't think like you. They're not going to operate like you. They go to different restaurants to you. They drive different types of cars to you. They've got different interests than you. So therefore, the responsibility is actually to build bridges to people not like you and actually access their wealth of information and knowledge and help them. Don't work alone, constantly build teams. Whenever you're going to do something, take someone with you. I grew up in a trade. I did an apprenticeship. So for the first 2 years of your apprenticeship, you've got to follow the tradesman around. You've got to sweep the floor, you've got to roll the leads, you've got to make him a cup of tea just the way he likes it, all those good things about apprenticeships. But you actually get to learn and observe, which inherently, for me personally, I'm watching someone else do a task and I just want to actually help them do it. If I just jump one step ahead, I can actually fix this problem that's looming for them and help them fly through the journey. So again, learn how to serve, learn how to build bridges. Number 3 is leaders with lids ignore other people's accomplishments, which says a lot about their own identity, about how they see themselves, and how small they see God, basically. So I would be doing everything I can in my senior role to elevate the people around me. Actually focus on them, encourage them, get them up on the platform. But I don't need to be in the spotlight, so elevate the people around you. How will they ever get a go? How will they ever grow if you actually don't put them out the front? Number 4, leaders with lids always assume the worst. Leaders with lids always assume the worst. Versus give people the benefit of doing their best. Give people the benefit of doing their best. So when we've got 5 leadership behaviors at Hope You See, which we've all worked on and crafted and built over the years. Well, one of those leadership behaviors is have a go, which means that we must give people a chance to fail and not assume the worst, assume the best. So moving on, number 5, leaders with lids want everything black and white. Leaders with lids want everything black and white. So the opposite to that for leadership in a senior role is always allow time for people to change. So today, they may not be in your team, in your church, in your department, where you want them to be. Fair enough, that's our job, right? Our job is to bring them through, elevate them, coach them and help them. But of course, they're not going to be there on day one. So we now need to give them time, and everybody runs at a different pace. So just because one of them is a racehorse and runs ahead does not mean then get rid of all of the other donkeys and now only put your time and effort into the racehorse to say, no, this donkey has potential. I'm not looking at any of our staff in the room. They might be thinking I'm calling them a donkey, but I'm just saying to you, everybody grows at a different pace and they've got different challenges and different things to go through. Give people time to change. Leaders with lids tend to be rigid and unable to receive feedback. But of course, we need to do an audit on ourselves. When we're talking about leaders with lids, this isn't what I'm talking about your team members. I'm talking about yourself. Are you able to receive feedback? Are you able to be flexible, or are you always rigid? So again, I'll put we have what we call a lead team, and we have a meeting, and everyone's allowed to talk in our lead team. I don't have the best ideas, the room has the best ideas. And again, I'll put sometimes an idea that I thought might be good in the room, and everyone will shut it down. They'll just fire machine gun bullets through that. Well, and I'll leave the room and go, well, that one didn't fly, did it? Well, of course, then I've got to be flexible. and go, I'm not going to bring that around a second time and go, no, I want to force this through, to go, I need to flex and change because there's something that they see that I don't see. Now, look, if I've got a burning thing in my heart and go, no, I believe God's called us, this is what we need to do, we've got to fight for this, maybe the first go around didn't work, then my job is to rally the troops to say, hey guys, I need you to get right behind this. But of course, that's not every day, every hour. And again, you need to figure out how to be flexible in your leadership. Leaders with lids blame other people for the problems, whereas servant leaders own your mistakes. People ask me, what's a key criteria for someone to be on your team? And I said, well, one of the things I celebrate is when somebody at that lead team table can say, I stuffed up, I made a mistake, I dropped the ball. In their mind, they're hearing fail, fail, fail. I hear they can succeed. That's what I hear. Because again, if you can't own up to your mistakes, what you're really saying is, again, I've just put a lid over myself. I've said that I don't make mistakes, everyone else makes mistakes. And again, we become better together, as they say. So, how do you build yourself? I thought in the last session, discipleship, Andy, I think, was speaking about the life, what's it called? Life stream. I thought that was brilliant, asking all of these very interesting questions. So again, senior leaders, how do you build yourself? How do you build your team? So, second point, just a few minutes ago, is how do you build your team? The last 10 years, we've been working on a program which you would think we'd get it right by now, but we're still in the middle of it. We've been following the Patrick Lencioni 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. Has anyone ever read that book? Yeah. Well, we've not only been reading the book, but we've been having an outside consultant march us through this. We get through it once a quarter, and then we go back and realise we're failing at some point and we have to look at it again. But I just think it'd be important for you to have some takeaways on how to build a team in your church as a senior leader. And I would say the first step, which is on his model, is this step of trust. And I was talking to other pastors yesterday saying that one of our mantras for our church is to build a church that is spiritually safe. A church that's spiritually safe. Well, how do you build then a staff, a team, a group of volunteers in your church where they feel trust? Which what that really means, let me unpack it for you, is that you've created a safe environment where one of your team members can comfortably fail. That then requires, though, vulnerability by the team. One, by you to actually not ignore the failure, but to talk about the failure, but to also restore that person who in some way has failed, whatever the failure may be, just they forgot to do something. And we're not talking about moral failure or all of these things, but we're talking about in terms of the operations and the advancements of your church. Can your team fail safely in your leadership, in your culture? Which requires vulnerability by everybody, not just you. Where then you, obviously in reciprocating, must also advocate for your own failures in that team. To say, I dropped the ball, I should have done better, I didn't get back to you, I should have emailed you, I should have communicated, whatever that is. Number 2 is in this pyramid of ascending priorities is healthy conflict. Creating in your team a platform where there can be healthy conflict, which means as the senior leader, you have to demand debate. Do not let anyone sit at the table and be silent. That you must actually draw out a response from them. That's your job. You are actually chairing a meeting of of colleagues where you need everybody's opinion to come into the room. The reason why you need healthy conflict is because you don't want water cooler violence. You don't want people to walk out of that room and after you've had your team meeting, and then there's another meeting after the meeting. You want that actual conflict to be expressed profoundly in the midst of that meeting, which means input from every team member, all team members. Do not let anyone off the hook, no matter how uncomfortable they are, how long it takes them to communicate, or how frustrating their communication may be. Allow everyone to debate. Number 3 is focus on clarity. We say clear is kind. Clear is kind. If you are unsure, we'll take the extra time, which again is frustrating as a leader, to make sure everybody is clear about the objectives, which way we're going, and how we're going to get there, which means there has to be an alignment on key objectives. One department can't have a whole bunch of objectives, which is different from the whole church's objectives, which takes time to get everybody into alignment around that. It takes so much time. It's frustratingly long. As the senior leader, sometimes I would love to come into the room and just bang out the objectives and just say, this is what we're doing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Does everyone get it? Clear to be kind? Yes. And then what I'm asking for is soldiers then to actually just implement my ideas. I'm not that leader. I'm a collaborative leader. I think there's just as many ideas in the room as what I've got. I do not have I don't have the best ideas. I've got some ideas, but again, I follow the Ephesians model, which says every joint supplies, which means the vision isn't only in me, it's also in the people. It's therefore my job to actually extract the part of the vision that they bring into the life of our church. Number 4, there's only 2 more. Confront difficult issues. You know what they are. They're there. Again, as long as you avoid them, you'll never get to the top of the pyramid. You've got to actually embrace the difficult situations. The other way to say it, the same standard for everybody. The same standard for everybody. Do not let somebody get away with tone, culture, conversations that are different from what you're expecting. That again, you must address that, whether you address it directly, whether you address it in the room, however you do it. Confront the difficult issues. Number 5, last one, is focus on outcomes. Focus on outcomes. Team-based results. We have at Hope UC what we call an OBN, one big number. Everybody at our church knows exactly what that is. Every life group leader will know what that is. They know what they're trying to go after. And anyway, we can talk about that another time. But again, it's super clear within the structure of our church, from the senior leadership to our lead team, to our campus pastors, all the departments, all the life group leaders will know what our OBN is. Focus on outcomes, team-based results. So hopefully that's helped you. Thank you.